Hello, I'm here with my superhero, Sarah, who is the chemical translator, and we're going to be talking all about her business today and how she runs it and basically a little bit of real talk. So hi, Sarah. Welcome to this interview.
Hi, Vicky. No, thanks for having me.
That's all right. Thank you for being here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? Because you're the chemical translator, but what does that mean?
So I translate from German into English, and I work mostly with companies in the chemical coatings, so like paints and anti-corrosives and things like that, brewing and food chemical industries. And so I help German-speaking companies present themselves to an international audience because English is used kind of around the world.
Yes. Oh, cool. Okay, and how did you get into that? Why chemicals and why translating?
It goes way back to school time, and I think I was all about languages and loved languages, and then I got a bit bored with French and switched to chemistry because it was much more exciting, and our chemistry teacher told us stories all about fairies and things like that. So I switched and studied chemistry and German at university, spent a year in Germany and kind of got really into it. And then ever since leaving university, I'd been working in manufacturing companies trying to find a way to combine the two. And in the end, I decided I'd just make up my own kind of job and, and become the chemical translator.
That's really cool. Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment. But what chemistries, fairies, what were they talking about?
It was, so the universe's natural state is chaos. Okay. This is how he taught us entropy and things like that. So it's basically saying that tell your parents every time you tidy up your bedroom or put a stack of books together, a fairy dies because the natural state of the universe is chaos. And I was like, that's brilliant.
That is brilliant. Also, the power of bloody storytelling, and just from a simple story like that, he's kind of helped to shape your entire career, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And I always use that excuse when my desk looks a complete state. It's like I can't fight the natural state of the universe, man. Cool. Okay, so talk a little bit about how you created your own job, because are you quite unusual in the translating world, being the chemical translator, being a specialist?
Yeah, I'm not the only one. There is another lady in America who had a similar kind of course, but she does French into English. But other than that, between the two of us, I think we're the only ones promoting ourselves as chemical translators. There are others, but they kind of merged off into technical areas and things like that. And I've kind of gradually uncovered a few as you've gone along.
Okay. And how have you found that that kind of specialism has helped you stand out? Because I would imagine that translating is not wildly different from copywriting, in that it's like a translator's a translator as a translator, and there's not a lot of differentiation. So have you found that's helped you specialising?
It has, yeah. I mean, there is a bit more differentiation in translation because you've got, but they're mainly kind of focused on sort of legal or medical literature. Right. Kind of different variations in between. And I think most people, whenever I've gone to events and things like that, are just in total shock to meet a human translator. That when they find out that I do chemistry as well, which is like, oh my God, this blows my mind.
Well, I think that's what makes you really different, though, isn't it? Because I think a lot of I don't know what the backgrounds of other translators are, but you've actually got a background. You've got a degree in chemistry. That's what you did at university, isn't it? So that must be quite a selling point for you.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely it is. And I have had I bring it out every so often when I've been kind of to events and I have had people say to me, "Oh, this is a bit technical for you, isn't it?" And then I kind of say, well, actually, I've got a degree in chemistry and I've got this experience and blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of go, oh, wow, okay, now we can talk to you on a level, and it makes them a lot more comfortable. Yeah, but it's really difficult. Sometimes it would be difficult for a generalist translator to translate some of the stuff that I do. But I find it interesting and kind of easier. Whereas other translators are much happier with kind of legal texts and kind of creative literature texts and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So why did you start a business? I mean, have you always worked for yourself?
No, no. I've worked in a few manufacturing companies that kind of drawn to it because of the chemical side, but then also using my languages. So working, like talking to customers and salespeople in German. But I never found a way I could either do one or the other. So I've worked in a paper mill, in a flooring company, and in a pharmaceutical company. And I was kind of doing the same. I'd get bored and move on to another company and kind of learn my job, try and find other positions, and was basically told you can either do chemistry or German. And at the same time, my husband Mark is a journalist and works night shifts. So I would be leaving the house at 7 in the morning and he would be leaving the house at 5 in the evening, and we'd just miss each other. So we saw each other for about 1 hour a day through the week. And so the freelance thing kind of was partly to see more of my husband, and partly because I couldn't find a job that could combine the two. And so while I was at the pharmaceutical company I worked for, I was learning Polish as well.
Wow.
so that I could talk to the Polish companies, and we had a lot of Polish truck drivers come to collect deliveries and things like that. And I just I really like languages. Way back when I was at school, I was going to be a translator. Why have I not thought of this sooner? And yeah, I kind of decided to jump in.
That's so cool. I love the fact that you were just like, you know what, the world doesn't offer me what I want, so I'm going to create it for myself.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's so entrepreneurial. And I think a lot of business owners will kind of recognize that, because it's just like, yeah, you know what, I don't fit into any of these boxes, so I'm going to make my own box. Which is really exciting. But it's not all, running a business is not all roses and sunflowers, is it? And so what has been your biggest challenge, do you think, in kind of starting and running a business?
There are so many. For me, I've always just piled on like challenge upon challenge upon challenge. And like the first year that I started business, I got married, we moved house, I started a business, and everyone was like, what the hell?
That's like 3 of the most stressful things you could possibly do.
Yeah, and then later that year I started my master's in translation, because I thought I'd better have like a piece of paper to back up. And then I got pregnant with my first son, and then so it's been kind of managing the business alongside all the kind of family things. And now I think it's still juggling, because I've got 2 children now who are like 9 and 7, and it's juggling childcare and like balancing family and work life. And when I need to go away, that's probably the biggest kind of personal thing. So for my business, it's more of a marketing and letting people know that I'm there, but almost from my home office. Yes,
I am in awe of people who have kids as well as run a business, because I don't, and I'm just like, I just don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you do it. I think it's incredible. Okay, so what are your hopes and plans for the future? How do you see your translation business developing?
I want to work with more. I've got some really great customers, and I want more like them, because I still work with a lot of translation agencies, which are nice. The people are really nice, but obviously they don't pay the same rates because they need their cut and everything else. So move a little bit more towards premium customers, and and getting myself known a little bit more, so that all these wonderful customers come to me.
Well, you've already started down that path, haven't you? Yeah. Have you? So how has that changed over the last year or so? What's been your biggest win over the last year? What's the thing you're most proud of in 2018?
I think I feel more like a business with plans now, and I'm being more proactive about my marketing. I've given a talk at a chemistry conference, and I've started a direct mail campaign, and kind of really figured out what I want and what I can offer potential clients. That's been really exciting.
Awesome. And what brought you to the superheroes? What made you decide to join? How did you find me? Why did you join?
That was your book. So I in between when I was trying to, I suppose a couple of years ago now, I think, I was looking for ways to kind of market my business, learn how to grow my business, and I couldn't find anything within the translation industry that was teaching me how to kind of progress. And one night I found your book on my Kindle and then read it in the next couple of nights, then joined your email list. And then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm just going to join the inner circle and the superheroes. And then I haven't gone away yet.
I know you've been here for so long and it's so great. And you get so involved with it as well. So how have you found that being a part of the superheroes has helped you?
So I think with a lot of groups, you can buy a course or you can find somebody to help you write a book, like set up a course or something like that. But you kind of help us when it comes down to it, and you're sitting at your desk going, right, I'm going to do this. And then you go, oh my God, but I don't know how to do it. And then there's always somebody in the group or you who can say, oh, this is the bit that you're missing. This is the thing that you need, or this is how you can make that even better. And the critiques are invaluable, because I can spend hours working on something and not be happy with it and then send it to you, and then you just find the bits that need changing. And then you're really happy and you know exactly what you're doing with it. I think that's the thing. You've got the experience, and there's always people in the group that have been there before you that you can gather knowledge from.
It is a great group of people, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Everybody from different industries as well, which is great.
Yeah, it's such a fun group of people. And that's the thing, because it's just like, I mean, you say I do the critiques and stuff, and I do, and that's all great, but I think the power of a group of people who are all in the same boat as you is just really important, because, with the best will in the world, other people just don't get it, do they? Like family and friends. If they don't run a business, they just don't get it. No. And they mean well, and they might listen, but they it's all a little bit like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, we're all weirdos together.
Yeah, all weirdos together. I'm all about finding your weirdos, and I've created a group of weirdos, so that's really cool. Okay, so what do you see? What's your next big adventure in 2019? Because I know you started your first direct mail campaign. Where do you want that to lead you, and what else do you want to do with next year?
So that's leading up to a show. I'm hoping to meet all these clients in person, and it's going to push me out of my comfort zone. I already know that, because like every step there's a new thing to do and new skills to learn. I'm going to be traveling a bit more, because I discovered that was a thing that I missed. So now I make sure that I travel a bit more and use my business as a way to do that as well. 2019 I'm going to have my book translated into German as well, so I can. So yeah, lots of exciting plans.
That's really exciting. I am so chuffed as well that you wrote a book, because most business owners won't do that. And how did you feel when your book arrived, when you had it in your hands?
I didn't really believe it that I'd written it, even though it had taken me, I don't know, about 9 months, I think. It's less than a year, but with gaps in between, so that it all came together. And then I looked back and I was like, I wrote this.
It's really cool. It's such a good book as well. You should be so proud of it, because it's because I know one of the things you said to me on several occasions is, I just don't think I'm not a writer, and I'm not this and I'm not that, and everything I've read that you've ever written has been so good. It's been so good. And so it's just like, I think if the one thing that I can do is build your confidence as a writer and communicator, and kind of help you to realize that you're really good at that, then I will feel like my work here is done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a big thing, the confidence that, like yesterday I had an interview published in a coatings magazine, which is as weird as it sounds, because that's my target audience. Yeah. And I kind of share it around tentatively, but think, well, no one's really interested in this. but it's like you saying how that I can market it and use the things that I've done. So I'm doing the things. I just need to use them in the best way.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like shouting, because nobody else is going to shout for you. I mean, I will a little bit, obviously, but you need to be kind of like shouting for yourself, because that's so important as a business owner. Is that something that you've found over the years, that other people are not going to do this for you? You have to step up and do it yourself?
Yes, yeah. I mean, especially because as a translator, naturally, my customers are in a different country than I am. They're never going to find me. If you type anything into Google to do with translating or translator, you get a load of dictionary sites. So yeah, you've got to shout louder.
Yeah. And you're doing, writing your book is a perfect way to do that. And you've made such a good start with that. And I can't wait to see what you do over the next 12 months or so, because I know it's going to be super. So. Cool. Okay, so where can people find out more about you? Where can they get your book, and where can they find your website?
If you go to chemicaltranslator.com, and my book you can get from me through the website, or it's available on Amazon as well. And I think now in a lot of places online, if you go to Waterstones, even you can find it now. So.
That's very exciting. That's so cool. Awesome. So if you want to find out more, you know what, even if you're not interested in translation or chemicals, then Sarah's book has a lot of it's very entertaining anyway, and it has a lot of really good stuff in it about communication and all of this. So yeah, go find it. It's a very good book. I'm very proud of you. Go to the chemicaltranslator.com, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, chemicaltranslator.com, and just search around on Amazon for, what's your book called?
Small Island, Big Business.
Small Island, Big Business.
So it's all about explaining the British to people outside of Britain, and a bit about international marketing and language and how you can use it best in business.
Cool, which is useful for everybody, not just for German speakers and foreign speakers. That's really cool. And the other thing that I totally forgot to mention, and I just need to mention now because it's probably one of my favourite words that you've ever come up with, globish. Just tell us about globish.
It's there are books written about this. It's basically a kind of not dumbed down but simplified version of English that non-native speakers use to communicate with each other, and it's fine, but it's when you get you read English and you kind of, it doesn't sound quite right, but it's becoming an established language, basically.
Okay, that's really interesting. We'll have to talk more about that at some point. You'll have to come on the podcast properly and talk about that at some point, because that's really interesting. Yeah. But in the meantime, go to chemicaltranslator.com and have a look for Small Island, Big Business by Sarah Silva, Chemical Translator. Sarah, thanks so much for talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been great. And I'll be back with another interview next week. So take care, everyone.